Okay, we're going to move on to working on our bracket. We are using the JK D3 bracket. This is a really good bracket. I like using it. It works well for my purpose. Everybody has their own taste. I've tried just about every stamp bracket out there. It's a pretty nice one. It does need a little bit of work as far as I'm concerned anyway, the way I like to do it. One of the first things that I do is that you'll notice that there's a lip that extends below the motor. It's not flush with the motor when you put it together. So I put the motor in here, and what I like to do is I'll scribe a line right here, and then I will mark all the way around. You can see the line that I scribed a little bit, and I will sand that material away so that the motor and bracket can sit perfectly flush on the board. You don't have to do this. It's really not required. Isn't going to hurt anything. It's just something that I like to do. The other thing to do is the holes right here. They're going to need some flash removal before you can fit your 7/32 tube inside. I use a rat tail file and just put it in here and work it back and forth, and just and spinning it and just flashing it out there, as I call it, cleaning it up a few thousandths to where your tube can easily slip in. You also want to have a few thousandths play just a little bit in here, because no matter how well they do these brackets, all brackets that I've tested, so many now, they all have a little margin of error. You have to give them a little leeway. Sometimes the holes and the bends are just not 100% accurate. So you can sand it out a little bit. That way when you set it up on the chassis, like we have back there, that you can set it up to be nice, flat, and true. So again, you don't have to do the sanding in the bottom, but it's what I do to set it up on the plate, and it works well. Okay, so now you can see why I wanted the motor to sit flush, on the setup block here on our soldering board. So now the motor is setting flush to the board, and the bracket is in place. It's setting flush. I've installed the tube and the bushings, as we've already talked about. They've been soldered in place. I basically just, look how curly, I just put it in here as a straight. I'm not doing anything offset. This is just a straight in line. I'm using 15mm mock-up setup wheels. They are touching the block. This is why I said to have a little bit of free play here and there. You have your alignment pins to keep it aligned, of course, and then this will make sure that it's setting flush with everything else. So having a few thousandths play in here when you set it down and then solder it, make sure that you get everything flat and true. Then I pin the motor a little bit to make sure the motor's aligned. You can see that I've drawn a line here on my board. Kind of helps me keep the alignment, but for the most part, that's really simple. Simple way to do it on the old honeycomb board there. So basically the rear end is put together there, and now we're going to add our rails and move on to the front. Hope this helps you a little bit, and look forward to seeing you in our car in our showdown.